Welcome back to another episode of Las y Nos Vamos.
Boo. Welcome back, guys, to another episode.
Can they see us? Do you think they can see us? No te creas.
No, we're
Cheesy. Well, happy Halloween to everyone. Whoever is going to be doing something this weekend. ¿Qué van a hacer? What are the plans?
Yeah, the last weekend before Halloween.
I know.
Halloweeny.
We haven't gone to a pumpkin patch. Is anyone? Well, ahí nos dicen en los comentarios qué van a hacer. Because I don't think we're doing anything. I want to go to a pumpkin patch, pero ahorita va a estar lleno.
Repleta de gente de shooby-doobies.
All right. So again, a lo que vinieron, right? Last episode, we said that we were going to have someone call in. Another special guest that they're going to be telling us a really good story. Really, really good story. And you guys are going to be mind blown because, I mean, I was mind blown.
Tan bueno que hasta la mejor sí me voy a desaparecer.
I don't think you've heard this story before.
No, I have not.
Right? Okay, well, let's get right into it. I know we just started, so we're just going to take a really, really quick break, give this person a call, and hopefully they're available. Welcome back, guys.
Sí.
Ya estamos otra vez de regreso, como les dijimos. Like we told you guys, when we come back, we're going to have a special guest, and they're going to tell us our spooky story. However, it is going to be in Spanish moving forward until this person tells their story. Okay, ¿listo?
Listo. Bueno, pues voy a contar mi historia. Es una historia real. Es un caso que me sucedió a mí en una noche. Estaba yo con mis ojos cerrados, no estaba dormido, no estaba soñando, no era pesadilla. De pronto sentí como que un cuerpo me caía encima y pues yo sentí que era una mala vibración, ¿no? Era el enemigo. Yo lo que hice fue rezar, haciendo oración. Rezaba el Padre Nuestro y una Ave María, un Padre Nuestro y una Ave María. Y así de continuo rezando, sin parar de hacer la oración. Hasta que de pronto sentí que se desprendía algo malo. Uh-huh. Horrible. Y así sucedió. Y al desprenderse, me sentí como cansado por el esfuerzo que estaba haciendo. Y así sucedió. 3 veces sucedió.
¿Esa misma noche?
No la misma noche. Fueron días, fue por decir como ahora y luego ya enseguida como a un espacio de no muy largo tiempo y me volvió a suceder y lo mismo, hacer oración. A la tercera vez, pues yo confiado a que dije, bueno, pues ya sé cómo me lo puedo retirar. Uh-huh. Comencé a hacer oración, Padre Nuestro, Ave María, pero aquí el caso fue que era una oración sin sentido, que no tenía profundización de oración, uh-huh. Porque yo estaba confiado que la oración me lo iba a retirar, pero una oración que no tenía sentido. Y de pronto, aquí viene lo malo. Uh-huh. De pronto se me manifestó el demonio con cara de viejita.
Ay, no.
Una cara de viejita así, burlándose de mí. ¿Y qué pasó? Pues yo entonces lo que hice, paré porque entendí que no estaba haciendo la oración como debía de hacer. Comencé a hacer la oración, pero entonces sí me profundicé en la oración. Ajá. Y así, igual, a rezar el Padre Nuestro y una Ave María. El Padre Nuestro y una Ave María. Así, rezar, hasta que por fin, ¡pum!, se prendió eso nuevamente y ahí quedó la historia y ya hasta esta fecha, gracias a Dios, ya no me ha vuelto a pasar nada de eso y no se lo deseo a nadie porque es algo horrible, muy horrible. Y pues yo, como creo en la oración, pues yo lo que puedo darle el consejo a las personas que les pueda pasar esto, que espero que nunca les pase a ninguna persona porque es algo muy horrible, como ya lo he estado diciendo. Uh-huh. Y si en dado caso a alguna persona le llega a pasar eso, ese es mi consejo, que hagan esa oración. Padre Nuestro y una Ave María. Padre Nuestro y una Ave María sin parar hasta que se les desprenda esa mala vibración, porque también el problema que no era nada más que sentía sentía que me caía el cuerpo encima, sino que era como si sentía como un remolino. Que se quería llevar mi alma, no que se quería llevar mi cuerpo. Las 3 veces me sucedió así, que se quería llevar mi alma, no mi cuerpo. Yo sentía que se quería llevar mi alma. Al tiempo que se desprendía, se veía un tronido. Yo era cuando quedaba yo como cansado, así del esfuerzo que estaba haciendo, de la lucha que estaba haciendo con el enemigo.
No, pues qué feo, qué miedo. Y no sé cómo, ya después de que le pasó eso, ¿usted cómo se sintió? ¿Ya no sintió miedo después?
Bueno, el miedo le queda a uno por el hecho de saber que es el demonio el que se manifestó ahí.
Fíjese que hay gente que no cree, la gente que no cree, y está bien, pues cada quien puede creer lo que quiere, pero hay gente que en realidad no cree que cosas así pasan.
Sí, cuando uno cuando vive uno esa mala experiencia o que lo experimenta uno eso, es cuando ya cae uno en la realidad a creer que sí es verdad. Como ya sabemos que existe lo bueno y lo malo, entonces hay que creer que hay cosas buenas como hay cosas malas.
Sí, bueno, gracias por contar su historia, pero como usted ha dicho, yo creo que es tener fe en la oración y no debes de decir hay que tener sentido, ¿que no?
Sí, claro que sí, eso tiene que ser creer en la oración. Okay. Es lo más importante y así como ya lo comenté, que sea un profundizamiento en la oración, porque si no, no serviría de nada, no tendría sentido.
Mi segunda pregunta, ¿esto le sucedió aquí en los Estados Unidos o en México?
Aquí en los Estados Unidos y donde yo vivía fue en Bloomington, el pueblo de Bloomington.
Oh, se va para atrás a la historia de la casa entonces.
Sí, fue en otra casa, no fue aquí en mi casa, en esta casa donde estoy reciente. Y ahí creo que hay un problema grande ahí porque ha estado pasando otros casos parecidos, no igual, pero ya hay cosas que se han estado oyendo ahí.
Ok. Cuando usted sintió, ¿era como una energía lo que sintió o nomás sintió como su cuerpo estaba muy pesado?
No, era una mala energía, era lo del demonio.
¿Y en este momento abrió sus ojos cuando sintió eso después?
Sí, exactamente. Como lo he comentado, no estaba dormido porque acababa en sí estaba mirando yo un programa de los hermanos.
Oh.
Y mero al tiempo que, se estaba terminando el programa, que estaba despidiéndose el pastor y así sucedió ya al terminarse el programa. Yo apagué la televisión, cerré mis ojos y automáticamente comencé a sentir esa mala vibración.
¿Y usted estaba solo en ese cuarto o había otra gente alrededor?
Yo solo estaba ahí, nadie más estaba.
Otra cosa que le pasó antes de sucederle esto, como mirar algo negro o una luz o un ruido antes.
No, anteriormente pues sí, hay otros casos que he tenido, pero el más fuerte fue este.
No,
el más sí.
Te había sucedido otra cosa, pero este caso pues se le quedó en mente más enfocado.
Sí, fue más fuerte, o sea que sí me tocaba oír ruidos, voces, todo eso, pero eso no le daba tanta importancia, pero a esto sí le di mucha importancia y sí. Por eso, o sea que por eso es que también ahora si no creía yo también con más razón, ahora sí creo, ¿no?
Ok, sí. Bueno, pues gracias por contar su historia y a ver qué dice la gente en los comentarios. Y gracias.
Si le queda alguna duda en el siguiente programa, lo que sea, puedo yo darles la respuesta, o si quieren saber algo acerca de esto, los que creen o los que no crean, de todos modos es algo que puede uno aprender para después entender. Si le llegara a tocar experimentar algo así, pues como quiera que sea, ya saben lo que tienen que hacer.
Uh-huh. No, pues sí, y sí, pues gracias por el, ¿cómo se dice? El consejo que se le dio, porque uno pues ni sabe qué hacer, pero pues uno que ya ha pasado por eso y supo que sí funcionó, está bien.
Al 100%.
Sí.
Al 100% funcionó.
Son muchos thank yous. Y qué bueno que ya no le ha pasado. Bueno, pues le agradecemos mucho de que tomó el tiempo de contarnos su historia y que esté bien y ahí luego hablamos. Mande.
Ay, se cayó una silla, yo pensaba que era el fantasma.
¿Se cayó sola?
Una silla, sí. Oh, aquí la moví yo.
Oh, dije, ay no, aquí la cortamos. Bye.
Well, yeah, if you don't believe in prayer, as the man said, prayer is key. As I told Raquelita on the other episode, es porque no le rezó a su angelito de su guarda.
I know.
Pero a ver qué dicen la gente y Raquelita, ponte a rezar ahora.
I know. What you think? What you think of that story? Like, what you guys think? What did you think about that story? Like, put it down in the comments.
But the man said that it happened in that Bloomington house, so I'm pretty thankful for you moving out of there, because, man, I don't know if I would have taken you in if you kept leaving there.
You know what? You're right. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, there's just so many people. It wasn't just one person. It wasn't two people. It was multiple people that lived in that house that had different experiences. And yeah, no, good thing we left, because maybe now that I was older, and the thing is that I didn't experience a lot, but I would never want to experience that. But because that story is... That's terrifying.
But yeah, that was a good story, and thank him again and everybody that called in for different episodes. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
But what you got else for us, Margarita?
All right. So this next one, it's not spooky, but I guess it's kind of, I guess I'll have to give a disclaimer. This story might be a little bit sensitive because, you know, that we could just say that, right? Just give it an advisory. It might be very sensitive or a little too much for some people.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a Mexican legend that really, really caught my eye. And you know what? What a perfect story to tell now that we're in the holidays. You know, we love tamales. What's your favorite type of tamal?
Tamal, I don't know. Overall, I've been growing into those pollo ones with the green sauce, but my favorite were the pork with red, basically.
Pork, mine is always with tamales de queso con rajas. So cheese and what is it like?
Yeah, it's
chili.
It's a piece of chili with cheese in them.
Yeah, they're bomb. So legend has it that Maria Trinidad Ramirez Poblano, she unalived her husband Pablo Diaz Ramirez, and it was on the news. It was confirmed that, you know, she did take his life. She admitted to it. So Maria, let me give you guys a little backstory. Maria and Pablo, they pretty much met while she would sell tamales in the street. He owned a barbershop. They fell in love, they hit it off, and they moved in together. Mind you, Maria already had kids, so they didn't have any kids together. At first, Pablo was very helpful. He would help her make tamales. He would help her with the kids. As time went on, Maria noticed that his demeanor had changed. Okay. It had changed drastically, where he was pretty much being very... Like, he was very short-tempered. He had no patience with the kids. He had no patience with her. And it became so bad to where he just stopped working. He pretty much just stopped working.
Did he felt like in depression, or?
I don't know what happened, but I mean, he had his own little shop, right? So you would think that he would be well off, but maybe he did. Who knows what his backstory is regarding that. But what might have happened is that he probably fell into addiction with gambling, because he would eventually, it got so bad where he stopped working, and she would pretty much just be she was the one that was providing. So anything that she would make from her sales from selling tamales, he would take it from her. Can you believe that? Like, she's working hard, trying to, you know, make ends meet. So he would take that money and just give her a small portion of what she would make.
Right.
And he would go gamble. And he would bet on wrestling. Yeah. So one night he pretty much just told him, like, you know what, I'm over this. Like, I no longer want to be part of this whole family. You guys need to get out. Okay. So he kicked them out. He didn't kick them out, but he had told them to. So one night, again, another night, fast forward, he just comes he comes home really upset, and the kids, you know, any little noise that the kids would make, he would just get really upset, and he would physically hurt the kids. And there was one night where he just really, really hurt them. And, you know, the kids, of course, you know, they ended up falling asleep. He fell asleep, and she was just so upset because he was hurting her little cubs, right? Mm-hmm. And then she was like, you know what, I'm over it. Like, you're trying to kick me out. Of course, she didn't know what else to do. So what she decided to do, she picked up a bat and started, you know, hitting him with it. And eventually she thought she was done with him. And she was like, okay, what am I going to do with him? And then she noticed that he started moving, so she whacked him again. Oh, man. And I think that's when, you know, that pretty much did it.
Right.
And then, of course, he was gone. So she was like, okay, what am I going to do with this body? Mm-hmm. I need to do something. Well, you know, I can't keep it here. Otherwise, they're going to find out that it was me. Right. And so what she did, her neighbor had let her borrow a hatchet. Mm-hmm. So guess what happened afterwards?
Hacerlo carnitas como el pozolero.
So she was like, okay. So she started, you know, doing what she had to do. And she was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So what she did, she put some of his pieces into I would say a potato sack. Mm-hmm. And she ended up, she was like, okay, where am I going to throw it? She ended up throwing some of the body parts, I guess, supposedly like under her bed. Mm-hmm. And eventually, you know, there was going to be smells coming out. Mm-hmm. So she took some of the body parts in the potato sack to this field. Okay. So she ended up putting it in the field
to the vultures.
Yeah, it was like some field or like where people usually go and throw the stuff, you know. As you know, as time was passing, you know, some smells were coming out. The neighbors were complaining that it smelled really bad. Right. So she had to call this, I guess, the city or the pueblo, the officials, and they were like, oh, well, you know, people didn't really think. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. People didn't really think much of it because there was a farm. There was a lot of farming around there. So they ended up thinking like, well, you know, maybe it's somebody dumped an animal, which was common. Right. But the smell got so bad where they had to call someone to come take a look at it. So yes, sure enough, they looked through whatever it is that there was, and they found what they found. The only thing that they didn't find was his cabeza.
Oh man.
Yeah. So they ended up finding, she said that legend says there's like, you know, it's been so many years that people probably change the stories, but there's different assumptions that that she cooked it and she started selling it and putting the meat in the tamales. Right. Another legend says, another story says that his legs, there was part of his legs or some of his body parts was missing some skin. So they assume that people are saying, oh, maybe she cooked them up and put them in the tamales. Could you imagine that?
I don't know, man. That's why it's scary when you go to Mexico and some people play with you and say, hey, esto es de caballo, la mi de caballo. You never know what you're going to get.
I know. And you know what? Like where we live there, you know that lady that's selling tamales? I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, oh shoot, this lady, where's her husband? No, but I mean, I've been tempted to try her tamales, but imagine just like, I'm over this crap, like so much torture, so much stuff that she went through that she was like, you know what, I'm over it. At the heat of the moment, she just decided to do what she did. Nowadays, like people empathize or sympathize for her because of everything that she was going through. Like she was being physically maltratada. And yeah, pretty much she was over and she's like, I'm done with this. Let me tell you, there's more to it. People are saying, no, like it's not true. Like it didn't happen. When officials, you know, forensics, they did their investigation or whatever, people are saying that she wasn't on her own. But she claims that she did what she did on her own. But experts who did the investigation and everything say they believe that
Somebody helped her.
that someone helped her.
Tenía un amante.
Oh, sí, como no.
I don't know. I mean, you gotta think about it. How was she able to carry this dude? I mean, obviously, we know guys are much bigger than ladies most of the time. So, ¿cómo le hizo? Obviously, she has those working hands siendo tamales, pero
Hey, you can
I
get
don't
some
know.
strength from that. No, but they're saying that, I saw you about that. They're saying that her brother and I think someone else, I don't know if it was a brother-in-law, but the brother and someone else, they said that that they might have helped her, because when they were looking at the what do you say, incisions, where donde cortó,
The way they cut her.
the way that they did the cuts, that it appears that there was two different tools that were used simultaneously at the same time. So there's no way that she could have used both of those tools, maybe both of those tools, to do what she had to do.
Maybe one was taking a little longer than the other.
Maybe. But yeah, they interrogated them. I think they even, I don't know if we're allowed to say this word, but tortured. Yeah, they even tortured them, and they were like, nope. And I guess till the day of her passing, I guess she passed in 1995. Ever since then, she says she did it on her own, and that's it.
So I'm guessing she was arrested by herself?
Yeah, she was. Good question. Yeah, she was arrested. She was the only one that was arrested on this. And she served 20 years in jail. From whatever time she was released to 1995. She got to live and then passed away in 1995.
Dang.
Yeah.
Crazy. Cuidado con los tamales. Porque
I
vienen los
know.
holidays. Here comes Thanksgiving. I don't know. Some people do tamales for Thanksgiving, but I think traditions always para las posadas y para Christmas. Pero
Uno champurrado.
ya saben, aquí dice Margarita que hay alguien vendiendo los tamales. I don't know if I'm going to try them this year.
Hey, it's happened before. Remember I don't know, it came out in the news that in TJ there was a restaurant where that they were selling human food.
I don't know about human. I remember que como los cholos, they're very known for TJ y vendiendo la comida china with comida de perro and gato
Órale.
maybe. But hey, we need to stay away from that.
That's scary. No, seriously, like you don't even know. Olvídate de eso. And there's just so much, not only like mysterious food, but do they wash their hands? How are they cleaning it? Like, have you seen those videos or pictures where people are preparing like large amounts of food and they're preparing, like, let's say I've seen one with macaroni and they're mixing the macaroni in the sink.
What?
That's disgusting.
Wow. Bueno, pues no sé, pero yo creo que en veces la comida de Mexican, original Mexican food from Mexico, it's pretty good. So maybe they'd be doing all that.
I don't know.
Try on your own risk.
Yep. And that's why people get sick. Foodborne illnesses.
Well, they don't have regulations like here, but hey. Well, we're moving along.
What you got for us, Lenchito?
Well, I have 3 stories. Not stories. 3 haunted places here in the IE.
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you ready for them?
A ver, what you got for us?
First one. Guess where?
Donde?
Rialto, California.
Shout out to Rialto.
So yeah, Rialto, California, north of Riverside on Riverside Avenue and 2nd Street.
Órale.
There was a
That's close.
there's a church, basically the first Christian church in Rialto, California to be organized or to be built. But now it's basically Rialto Historical Society. So if you guys ever want to go look into it, especially this 31st of October, pues ya saben dónde encontrarla. So this basically was a church back in the day, as I mentioned. This church was built in
Damn, that's
1907. They built a museum on the back. Now, on the church itself, they don't really open it for the public, but they do have sometimes open, but most of the time the museum is open. And some people say that at night when you drive by there, they can see some lights flickering from the inside.
Are we gonna have to drive over there?
No. Nah, with the man story earlier, I don't want to bring anything with me. I would rather leave it there. So pa' qué buscarle?
For real, I know. And see, I'm over here like, no, I don't want scary stories because that stuff can follow you along, and here I am telling spooky stories.
Well, there is, like we talked about last week, I believe, with people that see stuff and medium. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like mediums basically say like that. That's one of the things they say, like, guys, you got to be careful. Mm-hmm. You think it's just fun and games, like even taking pictures or bringing anything from there could be attached, or it can even attach to you as well.
Yeah.
So very true, Margarita. Being a medium, hey, maybe they'll save us from these things that natural people just want to go in there and find something, and they think it's all cool and games
don't mess
at that
with
time.
it. Don't mess with that stuff.
Pero,
F around and find out.
That's basically it. Pero even ghost hunters, back like in what is it, CFSI or CFI, the channel?
Oh, sci-fi.
There you go. I think they even went back. They went there and did an investigation.
Here in Rialto?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So there's even videos out there. Again, do at your own risk. Yo más le estoy diciendo. But I think there's a video as well that you can see it to see the investigation. But for some reason, and they do say that it's odd to see a Ouija board there.
Like just randomly?
Randomly. And they say that the investigators left it there. So a lot of people are saying like they open a port.
A portal?
Yep.
The investigators there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're like, why would they leave a Ouija board there? Mm-hmm. This could be a portal. So a lot of people feel eerie when they see it all the time for the same reasons. Like, some people like to communicate with the Ouija, and they say that's the reason for it. But I'd rather keep out. So this gentleman as well and several other people, there's a choir room there. And they say from the choir room, they feel like there's a growl coming out of there. Growl.
Oh, a growl.
Growl. Almost like if a dog is there. And they do feel like there's a dog. They're not 100% sure, but they do feel like there's a four-legged item there. So that's why they always say a dog, because obviously a growl or a creature's there with, 4 legs. So that's why they always pinpoint it as being a animal or a creature.
So did they say what the history was? Like, is it just like old and just a lot of energy attached to that place?
Well, the other thing that's happened that as we mentioned before, just like your casa, it has a lot of energy there, as you mentioned right now. But basically, because this was one of the first Christian churches, so a lot of people used to go here. And one of the things is that there is portraits of a man and a woman. And the people that work there in the museum don't really know the history of those portraits, but they know that one of the ladies, or they call it the bride, because she's like dressed up as a bride. They believe that she got left alone when she was gonna get married, so that she threw herself from a window. So that's part of it, and they feel like that's maybe one of the energies that's there.
Yeah.
And
probably.
So back in the day, with the whole bride, back in the day when they used to do ceremonies for people to get married, they said that the bride would show up to the actual bride that was getting married there at that point.
So, like, while the bride was getting ready or something?
Yeah, she will be there and she will put her hand on the shoulder, to comfort her. Because, I don't know, maybe because she didn't get to do it, but maybe she was happy that, she was there about to get married, or maybe remembering the time that she was going through that situation.
That's so scary. Oh, I know.
Yeah, so imagine now, every time you see a bride, this story's gonna pop up in your head.
That's crazy. Like, imagine how many people. Imagine if we would have been able to find someone who experienced that, and still getting married there?
That area is not really open anymore for the public because Rialto owns it. They basically made it historical building. So it's Rialto City owns the building now.
You wouldn't want to pass by and record it?
No, thank you. Second of all, Or another part of this, there's a children's room, and they feel like that they seen a little girl there, and she basically plays with you almost in a rough way.
Oh, damn.
And she lets you know, she makes herself known by playing, but roughly.
What is like? What does she do?
Like probably like throw a ball or like, you know, hit you with stuff. So she just makes her presence known like that. Like, oh, like I'm here.
Like I'm here.
Yeah.
This is my place.
Almost like, you know, the Toy Story kid that que tiraba, que rompía todos los toys. I imagine that, almost like her, that, like a playful, rough way.
She's mischievous.
And last but not least, sorry.
I have a question. Do they say the history of that kid, or it's just
no?
que
Well,
parece?
again, it's just an old place, so not everything is gonna come up. But being a Christian church, you know, most likely people used to live there. You know, stuff happened. There's just not that much story in full. The bride is one of them, but a lot of different people experience different things. Almost like, you know, I think mediums do go in there and they experience these things, and people seeing the flickering light. The last one. The owner couldn't find out if the bride and the owner of the original building, if it was the same person, but I don't think so, because the lady, it was basically a 2-story Christian church, so the lady fell from the stairs and broke her neck.
Is that the bride, or this is a different person?
No, I think it's not. I don't think it is. I think it's separately, because they say that she basically, your footsteps coming up the stairs and down. Okay. She makes herself presence by that.
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, scary. Like, people that don't believe in that stuff, I'm just like, what proof do they need, you know?
Well, like, again, if it doesn't happen to you, you're not gonna believe it.
And maybe people choose not to believe it because they're afraid that they don't want to experience it. So maybe that's why. Because I've heard like I
mean, the curiosity is there, so I don't think it's really that much. I think they just see it as fun as games until it happens. And last but not least, for the Rialto Historical Society. So, you know, like I mentioned, there's a museum there, and that one is open sometimes for the public.
Yeah.
They say they see a little boy there too. So again, it could just be. I think we overthink about it almost as like, oh, what's the history and, you know, and all this. But people are just attached to this, and especially because at that time Rialto wasn't a city yet. It was still becoming one. So who knows what happened, you know, during that time. Especially we're talking about people having, you know, diseases, because there was diseases back in the day, and, you know, they didn't have any remedies or any medicine. So again, energy just attaches to these items or this Christian church.
I know there's so much activity. There's a lot of activity that happened in that church. So of course there has to be. Yeah, I mean, some of the stories. Some people have been able to say the story behind that, but just so much activity in just one place.
It can be like, oh, this one says this and this one says another. It's just, again, what happens to different people. So, how did you like that one? So, I feel like you want to go, pero sabes que vas a ir sola porque yo no te acompaño.
No, I'm not going to go.
Pues tanto que dices, should we go by there?
I know. Well, like the same thing with like how you had said a story from one of the serial killer stories that we did from, ¿cómo se llama? Like, I wonder if that house is haunted. The one
the chicken coop.
The chicken coop.
Yeah, that one
serial
is.
Killer.
Yeah,
that one is haunted?
Yeah, because the same thing. There was a lot of bloodshed there.
Yeah.
So that is one of England Empire haunted places.
And there's someone living there. That's the one that I wanted to pass by. Nomás pasar, you know?
Again, do it on your own risk.
No, thank you. Not sola. Yo no sola no voy.
Okay, you ready for another haunted place here in the England Empire?
Give it to us.
Edward's Mansion.
Ooh, I've heard about that one.
Okay, you heard about Edward's Mansion. So this mansion was built with 14 rooms. Basically, Edward built it he wanted that. This building was first used as a boarding home because it was on a land with 20 acres of oranges. So they used to do oranges here on these 20 acres. So he used it as a boarding, not an actual family home.
Yeah.
Not until after some time, they finally started using it as their family home. But in 1958, Miss Edwards passed away and they moved out. So back then in 1978, the house was sold. And can you believe how much this house was sold for?
For like $10,000 back in the day?
$1.
$1?
Yes, basically it was worth around $1. They don't really know for sure if it was $1 or not because this was more like a roundup. So they're not 100%, but they know it was $1. So from Redlands, this house was from Redlands and they moved it to San Bernardino.
So they like picked it up and
they cut it in two and they transported to San Bernardino to Old Barden Ranch.
Órale.
So right there, Old Barden Ranch. If you guys don't know, the Museum of San Bernardino's there.
Really?
Yeah, so the house, that's the house. You know how museum is here and there's a house on the back?
Wait, is it the one by downtown?
No, the one at museum. The museum at San Bernardino where you took me. You know how there's a railroad track there and then there was like some playground and then there was like something else and then there's a house on the back.
Remember there was a mirador and we were able to see the house? It's like colorful, right? It has like...
It's green.
It's green?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I remember seeing like some pink on it.
Well, it used to be pink. It's funny that you say that. I don't know if you knew that or not, but yeah, it used to be pink, but they moved it to San Bernardino and it's green now. I
could have swore when we were at the mirador, I saw like different colors. Like it was like pink and it was like a different color.
Well, it could be. Maybe it's fading.
I was, ¿cómo se dice? It was an illusion.
Maybe.
That I saw.
But it's funny that you mentioned that. So when it was sold, it was moved to San Bernardino.
That's
so
crazy.
When they moved it to San Bernardino, they were going to restore it. So that's why I'm saying it's funny that you mentioned because it was, I believe it was pink and it became green.
Pero...
And the time of the restoration, they got a chapel to be built next to this or to be united to the part of the house.
Yeah.
So the chapel as well was at Redlands. Then with the restoration of the chapel, this other first evangelical Lutheran church, they took the mirrors of this church and put it in the chapel.
Órale.
This chapel then was built in 1904, but not the chapel, but the church. So the windows they used from the church were built in 1904.
Oh, so like the really colorful ones. Okay.
So all of this was in Redlands and moved out to San Bernardino, okay? So aquí también, there's a bride room and the bride and a groom show up on the bride's room. So again, that's what I'm telling you. I think the history of the energy that is placed in a certain area, and because they don't like it, se mueven.
Yeah.
As I mentioned,
it's attached to it.
It's attached to it. So from Redlands, we moved to San Bernardino because all of this was put together because it got restored. So that's why the bride and the groom show up on the bride's room because it used to be used as a chapel for people to get married. Any other question?
No, just a thought that maybe, within that the chapel or whatever, the church or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a couple that maybe passed or something.
Could be.
While they were on their way to get married or something. There's no history on that?
Can't tell you that, but we could just say again, as you mentioned, that maybe they're attached to it. So that's why they moved along with the chapel. All right. Well, this is part of it. But have you ever heard about treasure being buried?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's funny because they believed that there's treasure underneath the structure. So when they moved it, they think there's treasure underneath.
The mansion.
Underneath the mansion or the chapel.
Makes
but
sense.
it made me remember that my dad used to tell me that anywhere where there's a little lit of fire on the ground, that there was money there. Almost like the leprechaun story at the end of the rainbow, it'd be a pot of gold. So have you heard of anything of that? Like anything that you see that might be money there?
No, yeah, I've heard that from entre familia, some family members have said that, like even in the house in my childhood home, there was in the kitchen there was a door that would always rattle. And after I recently heard that, maybe there was treasure, buried underneath somewhere near that door.
Right.
Or like if there's like a spirit that always passes by like a certain area, that there might be shadow there or something, if there's something that's constantly, roaming around in just a specific area, there has to be something there.
Yeah, and again, this treasure or this gold or this money could be cursed, almost because again, it could be attached to it. Como what's your favorite movie from Disney?
Pirates of the Caribbean,
yes,
or
like
the
Pirates of
Caribbean,
the
however people say it.
So yeah, I've heard it as well. And again, if you guys have heard anything of that nature, because I've heard as well, like you know how there's random little tornadoes on the ground?
Yeah, the little dust devils.
Yeah, I've heard that there's probably water underneath the ground. So again, if you guys have heard anything of that, let us know.
Yeah, I guess there have been stories. I can't remember where I heard that they ended up that there was always something like I can't remember what it was exactly. I don't know if it was like some sort of spirit or something was always present in a certain spot, and they finally decided to dig it up and they found treasure underneath.
Yes.
I can't remember who it was.
Cursed?
It's possible, maybe.
So yeah, all of these energies, again, from the chapel, from the house, from maybe treasure being there underneath of it. That's why there's just different myths, I guess we can say, and whatever you want to put to a tube, make it believable or not.
Yeah.
But last but not least, two things they do have seen. People have seen shadows, giggles, voices
In that mansion.
In that mansion, they've seen a little girl, and they see her as old time dressed up.
Yeah.
With the little collar and the little. It's not ruffles,
Just like
but
her little like how they como se vestían
back in the day. And same thing with the museum. They believe is haunted. And again, we go back. The energy that's attached to it, because that used to be Native American grounds.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're in California.
And remember my story about the Native American curse that San Bernardino has?
Yeah.
Do you know it?
Yeah.
Do you want to say it? And I hope you to
okay, you can help me
fill
though.
in the...
Yeah, fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. So the story, I don't know exactly the whole history, but the story is that, what was it? See, I can't remember. I can't remember 100%. But pretty much every single time that we had the San Bernardino fair goes on, it's always cloudy or it's raining.
Yes.
Because of some sort of curse that a Native American tribe.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm so sorry.
Fine.
But yeah, that it always rains because there's a curse on that, and it doesn't matter if I think they've even tried to move the dates, but it still rains, and it's happened before.
Yes.
I've seen that. But fill in the blanks. I know I probably missed like the initial part as to how it led for them to set a curse.
No, you're good. Yeah, basically that is the story that a Native American put a curse into the fair, again, because oranges. So the whole fair was part of selling oranges, because again, we had acres of oranges here. But just like the museum and just like this house was, a Native American land, same thing happened to them. They got moved out of their land just because people made it become a business, and the Native Americans seen this, that it wasn't, of goodwill.
So, it was more of profit.
More of profit, making money.
Greed.
Right. So then one of the Native Americans put the curse that every time they made this fair, obviously it became more an evolution. We started having games, food, just like OCLA fair. But they would try and move it, and I've been here for 20 years, and I can say for sure, they try to move it, and it will just rain all randomly. It could have been 100 degrees out there, pero todos modos, all of a sudden that day came and it started raining.
It's crazy. So there's proof.
Así es.
Time after time, there's been proof that it just rains.
So again, we can say energies get stuck to something.
You got anything else? Is that all?
Alrighty, for the last one. This one's very short and sweet. I know if you've heard of it. Basically, the Mission Inn in Riverside.
Mission Inn?
Yeah, the Mission Inn.
Yeah, I guess that one's pretty dated.
Yes, and the reason why I just want to make it short, Mission Inn, it's very used on the holidays, right? Right after Thanksgiving, they put on the Christmas lights. But be careful, guys, because a lo mejor se les aparece algo when you're walking around, roaming around there. So basically, this building was constructed in 1890 to 1947. It got finished built.
It took a lot of years.
But it only was built originally with 12 rooms. And then, they started building it more and more until now it is what it is. But Alice and Frank Miller, they were brothers. And they say that they haunt the Mission Inn because, again, they're attached to it. And they roam all over the place. And just like the previous story, they have seen, heard giggles. They have seen ghosts come in and out. They've seen people walking and then they vanish. So the Mission Inn is very, very paranormal activity goes on there.
I wonder if they see them dressed like back in the day.
I would say they do.
Yeah.
And especially because this Mission Inn was built by Spaniards. So that's why
really?
That's why Mission Inn is like this, because it was built by Spaniards. Same thing. There is a suite, for a bridal back in the day. There's a not a bridal room, but there's a honeymoon. And there's different rooms and these levels. But the most haunted or experiences that people have had is on the 4th room. So they believe that them two are very attached to this room. And guess what?
What?
I can confirm that, sort of, because remember, I have a friend that stays in there like once a year. So I asked her, I was like, hey, anything paranormal that you've seen in the Mission Inn? She's like, no, I haven't. But when you get to the 4th floor, it feels like the air goes away. Like it's very heavy inside.
Like the oxygen is thick or something?
Yes, it feels very heavy.
Órale.
So it could be it. Again, guys, if you want to go experience it, go for it. And last but not least, there is catacombs underneath the Mission Inn.
¿Qué es eso? Catacombs?
Catacombs are basically, they used to use them they used to bury bodies back in the day. But I don't think they used them here at the Mission Inn. It was more to be able to transport illegally and prohibition days, wine and alcohol.
Oh, mood, not the prohibition.
Yeah, so they use these catacombs for that reason. But you know where the catacombs go from that Mission Inn to where? Can you guess?
No.
To Mount Rubidoux or Mount Rubidoux. So the catacombs go all the way over there. Now what's near Mount Rubidoux?
Cemetery?
Yes. So they feel like the energy from the cemetery goes all the way to the Mission Inn through the catacombs.
So it's haunted. And you know what? They say that Mount Rubidoux is haunted too?
Same thing.
Spooky, and I went running there one time.
So be careful because there is stories about Mount Rubidoux and the cemetery. And again, like I said, they feel like the energy se va from the cemetery all the way to the catacombs, all the way to Mission Inn, and that's why they see several spirits.
What the heck? Imagine that day that I went at night. Some people that were running beside me, remember? And it was raining, so it's like perfect. Like it's like the perfect setting para que se me aparezca algo. Pero no, it was a nice little run.
Hey, they said that they've seen pyramids being built of little rocks. So if you see a little pyramid all random on the road, then you know it's something else.
Oh heck, no, I'm not going back there again. Not by myself.
Well, yeah, that was my story. Hopefully you guys are willing to go on October 31st and experience it yourself.
Yes. For all of those thrill seekers, porque aquí no, yo no.
Yo tampoco.
That's the stuff you see from a distance.
Así es. Yeah, mejor aquí en mi casita, nice and peaceful.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, that concludes our spooky stories. I hope you guys have enjoyed our spooky stories, our callers. Thank you to our callers again. Our little disfraz. Did we even say like, hey, we have our disfraz? Pues obviamente que they can see us. But what if people who are listening, they don't know that we're dressed up. So if you're listening, head over to YouTube. If you're watching
YouTube, well, yeah.
No, if you're listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Music, right?
Yes, everywhere.
On Apple Music, head over to our YouTube so you can see our costumes. We're not going to say what we are, but so you guys can see.
Okay. Yeah, thank you again, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Don't forget to
like, comment, and subscribe. Yes. And welcome to our new subscribers.
Yes, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe with us and check us out in IG, TikTok, and as Margarita mentioned, Spotify, Music, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, spooky season's over.
Happy Halloween and be safe out there.
Chequen esos dulces, por favor.
All right. Bye.
Alrighty, peace.